tayo masyado bitin. Okay, sa free-falling objects, mabilisan lang. Ayan, so ina-assume natin na walang air resistance pag ina-analyze natin yung mga freely falling objects. And then the only force acting on it is yung gravity. Ayan. At yung magnitude ng ating acceleration due to gravity is g, which is 9.8 meters per second squared. So that's for SI. And 32.2 meters per second feet per second squared for English. Okay? Kung acceleration ng pag-uusapan, so dapat meron siyang direction. Kaya meron tayong direction na pababa. So, yung ating G ay pababa. Kaya yung acceleration natin ay nagiging negative. Okay? Kaya nagiging siyang negative G. Ayan. Okay? At kinasabi na rin natin, constant yung acceleration, which is the average, 9.8. So therefore, we can also use these 4 formulas. Ayan. So of kinematics. Ang ginawa lang natin is papalitan natin yung delta y, yung x, delta x, gagawin natin delta y, kasi x pertains to the horizontal motion or horizontal path. So since vertical ito, ginawa natin siyang delta y. And then, but the others will remain the same. Hindi na tayo nagpalit ng formula provided na yung a is a constant, which is negative 9.8. So we will be using these formulas. If we will be using these formulas without changing anything, so therefore, ang A natin will be always negative 9.8. Yeah. Okay, so we also discussed the initial velocity. Yung mga, ano bang tawag dito? Mga iba-ibang paraan, paano yung nagiging initial velocity ng isang free-falling object. So una, pwede siyang drop. Pag initial velocity ng drop is 0. And then pag thrown upward, ang initial velocity niya ay, it's not equal to 0, but it is positive because it is given velocity going upward, wherein the reference ng upward natin is positive. Pag pababa, negative. Pag naman thrown downward, initial velocity is also not equal to 0, but it is given an initial velocity pero directed downward. So that's why it is negative. Okay, in terms of displacement natin is equal to y final minus y initial, wherein both are positions. So yung y initial, that's yi is the initial position, and then yung yf is the final position. So remember, when describing the position, we need the reference, and normally sa ganito, ang ginagamit nating reference is yung initial point, kung saan nanggagaling yung free-falling object natin. So, halimbawa dito yung reference natin, reference, yung initial position ng ating object. Kaya at that point, ina-assume natin na yung position na yon is 0. Okay, kung nag-move siya pababa, ayan, so halimbawa initial niya nito, nasa baba siya ng reference, ang nagiging displacement natin ay negative. Okay? Pag naman nandito siya tapos tumaas siya, ang nagiging displacement natin ay positive. Pero kahit tinaas mo siya, pero in the end, bumaba pa rin siya na mababa doon sa reference point, nagiging negative pa rin yung displacement. So ganito rin sa thrown down, laging, ayan. Since nasa baba siya ng reference, so yung displacement niya ay negative. Okay? And then, ayan na dito, dun sa path taken, yung path ng ating projectile, really falling object. Okay, so, halimbawa, nilagyan natin siya ng velocity para umakyat siya. So, in direction ng velocity natin, pabataas. Pero since opposite siya ng acceleration, pag habang tumataas yung object natin is slowing down siya. So, papagal siya ng pabagal hanggang pumunta siya sa point B. So, kung i-compare natin ang velocity ng point B sa point A, syempre, mas mataas yung A compared sa B. Kasi slowing down na siya. At yung B compared sa C, mas mataas naman yung B. Okay? Kasi pabagal siya. Pero, at one point, at the moment na ma-reach na yung kanyang maximum height, yung kanyang velocity ay magiging 0. So, minto. The maximum height of a free-falling body, the velocity is 0. So, after niya mag-start na siya mag-descend, bababa, and then, since pababa siya, yung direction ng velocity now becomes the same as the acceleration. So, nagigain na siya ng speed or bumibilis na siya. So, dito is nag-speed up na siya. Ayan. syempre, that means mas mataas yung velocity dito compared doon sa C. And then, syempre, dito din, mas mataas yung E compared doon sa D. Okay, pag same level ang pinag-uusapan at walang air resistance at ganito lang, puro lang acceleration or gravity lang yung force, so that means at any level, okay, so, halimbawa, itong dalawang ito, so habang pataas siya at saka pababa, kung magka-level yung point na yon, so that means the velocity of done ay meron silang relationship. They will have the same magnitude but opposite direction. So, limbawa, dito is 5 meters per second siya, pataas. Dito naman, magiging 5 meters per second na pababa. Or magiging siyang negative. So, kung magka-level. So, if they have the same level, yung velocity will be of the same magnitude but opposite direction. Okay, next is the time. Ito na. Class, laging lang tandaan, yung time to go up is equal to time to go down. Ano din ito may kinalaman din sa level. So, halimbawa, mula dito papunta dito is the same time para mula dito pupunta siya dito. Okay, yung time from A going to B is the same time from D going to E. Okay, or yung time from B going to C is the same time from C going to D. Or time from A going to C is the same time para sa C pumunta siya ng E. So they will have the same time. Kaya symmetrical sila. So time to go up is equal to time to go down. Ayan. So kung gusto nating kunin yung total time of flight, okay, total time of flight. So yung total time is pwedeng yung total time from A to C plus time from C to E. Okay, o kaya pwede mo na lang kunin total time is 2 times time to go up or 2 times time to go down. Ayan. So depende. Okay, so depende kung ano yung path ng ating object. Ayan. Okay. So yun naman maximum height. So we can get a shortcut sa maximum height. So using this formula. Ayan. So alam natin na the maximum height, the final velocity is 0. So therefore, if we will manipulate the formula, so we can arrive with this one. Ayan. So yung delta y, so the displacement. But since ang A natin is equal to negative g, wherein g, that's the magnitude of the acceleration due to gravity, 9.8, and substitute natin siya dito sa formula na to, and we can arrive with this formula, makakancel yung negative. Kaya yung y max natin is equal to vi squared plus 2g. Pwede naman hindi nyo gamitin yan. I-derive nyo na lang as long as you know ano yung property ng ating object pag na-reach na yung kanyang maximum height. Okay? Ayan. So, any question before we proceed in solving some examples? Okay, so may nag-question. Sir, gagamitin po ba yung formulas if yung A is given and not 9.8 meters per second squared? Wait. Pagdating natin sa free-falling bodies, ang A natin ay lagi siyang negative 9.8 meters per second squared or 32.2 feet per second squared. Even if it's not given in the, actually they will not mention it in the problem, automatic siya. Oh, unless there's something na naka-specify. Okay, merong mga ibang problem na sasabihin nila yung A. Yeah. Paano po if yung problem states na nasa Mars, kunwari? Okay. Kung nasa Mars, kunwari, ang gagamitin mong G is yung sa Mars. Kasi yung 9.8 sa Earth lang kasi yon. Okay? If iba na po yung A na gagamitin, same po yung formula like that of sir. Yeah. Same. Meron kasing meron ako na encounter before. If I'm not mistaken, it's a rocket. Sinabi naman sa problem kung ano yung acceleration habang nag-ascend yung rocket. So sinabi naman kung ano yung acceleration. Parang kinompute na yung acceleration niya habang pataas siya. Ang nangyari doon sa problem na yun, kung hindi ako nagkakamali, is nasira yung rocket. Nasira yung rocket at a specific height. So nag-free fall siya. Dalawang analysis yung ginawa doon. Kasi yung una, yun yung pataas siya na meron siyang specific na acceleration na average. And then, at a certain height na na-reach niya, nasira yung rocket. So, parang nag-free fall yung rocket. Nung una, hindi pa siya nag-free fall. Tapos bigla siyang nag-free fall. Ayan. So, iba yung method ng analysis naman. Okay? Sige. So, let's solve this example. Ayan. Ay, may tumatawag kasi. Ayan. So let's have this example. Okay, so okay lang, Kian. Okay, so let's have or solve this example. So yung una ay, ayan. Okay. So a baseball is hit so that it travels straight upward after being struck by the bat. Kubet. Ay, nakukubet. Ayan. A fan observes that it takes 3 seconds for the ball to reach its maximum height. So find the ball's... sandali. I need to answer this. Ayan. A ball, ulit, is hit so that it travels straight upward after being struck by a bat. So a fan observes that it takes 3 seconds for the ball to reach its maximum height. So find A, the ball's initial velocity and the height it reaches. So if you will draw the a diagram for this problem. Ayan, kumara yun yung bat. Tapos, ito yung bola. And then, dire-diretso daw siyang, ayan, nag-travel pataas para i-reach ang kanyang maximum height. Ayan. So, nandito yung maximum height. Okay. At the maximum height, sabi nung na-observe daw na it took 3 seconds for the ball to reach it. Okay. So, anong pwede nating, di ba, makonclude natin that at the maximum height, the velocity is equal to 0. Ayan. Acceleration is still the same. So acceleration, even if it's not mentioned in the problem, it is already given. It's automatic pala. It's automatic. That's 9.8. That's negative 9.8 meters per second squared. Ayan. So letter A. So we want to find the initial velocity or the ball's initial velocity. So ano yung kanyang velocity dito? Ayan. Okay. So yun na muna. So, at the maximum height, ang given natin ay yung time is 3 seconds, yung V final is 0, and acceleration is negative 9.8 meters per second square. Okay, so anong formula ang gagamitin natin to solve for, ayan, so involving this 3 and our unknown. So, yung V final is V initial plus 80. Tama ba? Ayan, but V final is 0. So V initial is equal, transpose natin to, negative 80. So that's negative 9.8 times 3 seconds. So V initial is equal to 29.4 meters per second. Okay. Now let's make question. Okay. Sir, always 0 po ba yung final best or it depends po sa question? Aaron, nag-0 yung final velocity sa maximum height. Doon lang. Okay, doon lang nagsi-zero yung final velocity. So pag pinag-usapan natin ay na-reach na yung maximum height or na maximum height, automatic na yon na yung velocity sa point na yon ay 0 at the maximum height. Okay? Sige. Meron pa bang iba may question? Ayan. So let's proceed to, mag-proceed na tayo sa letter B. The height it reaches. The height it reaches. Okay, so the height it reaches, that means we are looking for the maximum height, delta y max. Okay? So, hinahanap natin ay delta y max. Now, we want to find what formula? Kailangan na, involving ngayon ito pa rin, and then yung ating y max. So, lagi po ba nasa max height yung v find? Hindi. Mark, hindi. Inassume lang natin na v final yon kasi ang initial natin ay nandito at ang information na meron lang tayo ay yung time doon sa maximum height na 3 seconds. So we can ask if what's v final after 2 seconds, or what's the velocity after 2 seconds, or what is the velocity after 5 seconds. Ayan. Basta't ang alam natin, at the maximum height, the velocity is 0. Sandali. Meron na naman. May... So, ay. Kala ko may question. Okay, si John Darrell. Sige, okay lang. You can. Okay, so susulat na ako ng formula na pwede natin gamitin. Bale, sir, if yung object galing po sa taas, papunta sa ibaba, yung initial po yung magiging zero. John Darrell, yes. Particularly if the object is drop. Alala mo ba? Drop. Yung pinag-usapan natin earlier, if the object is drop, so initially 0. Okay, masing. Okay. Okay, so we can use this formula, or we can also use delta y is equal to VIT plus 1/2 AT squared. So whichever, pwede namang gamitin. So if I'll ask you, ano yung gagamitin natin? Kung ako ito na lang, diretso na lang. Para wala nang transpose, di ba? Hindi diretso na lang natin. Bakit to pwedeng gamitin? Kasi meron naman tayong given na time. Hinahanap natin yung delta y. O, ba't naman to pwedeng, given naman kasi tayo ng final velocity, which is 0. O, kaya kahit anong gamitin natin sa dalawa, pwede naman. Okay? So, ako ito na lang gagamitin ko kasi ayaw mag-transpose. So, 29.4 times 3 plus 1/2 times negative 9.8 times 3 squared. So, what is delta y? Okay, so, delta y is equal to ayan, so 44.1 meters. Ayan. So, that's our final answer. Okay, so let's proceed to another example. Ayan. Okay, so let's have this example. Okay, a ball is thrown straight upward with an initial speed of 35 meters per second. Compute A, the maximum height reached by the ball. B, the time taken to reach that height. C, its velocity 5 seconds after it is thrown. And D, when the ball's height is 40 meters. Ayan. So, isa-isay natin. So, meron daw tayong given na bola. Okay, at tinapon siya pataas, giving it an initial velocity of 35 meters per second. So, yun lang. Yun lang yung given. So, yung tanong ay, ano daw yung kanyang maximum height? Okay, Y max. Delta Y max. So, yun yung ating letter A. So, what is delta Y max? Ayan. So, anong information na alam natin pag nasa maximum height siya, yung velocity ay 0. Okay? Now, considering that we're only considering at the maximum height, so therefore, yung V final na i-consider natin is 0. And the initial is 35 meters per second. And the acceleration is still negative 9.8 meters per second square. So regardless kung sinabi yung acceleration or not, if it is a free-falling object, acceleration will automatically be negative 9.8 meters per second square. Okay? John? May question? Wala? Sige. Yes, John? John Christian. Dami pala kayong John dito. John Christian. Baka, ang dami nyo nga John dito. Ilan? Apat? Or baka nag-ano lang. So, let me mute you for a while. Okay. Ayan. So, what formula are we going to use? So, we'll be using yung V final squared is V initial squared plus 2A delta Y. Ayan. So, V final is 0. So, therefore, delta Y is equal, transpose natin to, negative VI squared over 2A. So, that's equal to negative 35 squared over 2 times negative 9.8. So, delta Y is equal to Y max natin. What's the answer?
Ayaw. Ibang hinam.
Okay, so it's 62.5. Okay, so 62.5 meters. Okay. Okay, so tama. So letter B. Okay, what is the time taken to reach that height? So this time, ano yung time to reach the maximum height? So, ano yung formulang gagamitin natin? Okay, so yun na lang. V final is V initial plus 80. Okay, but V final is 0. So T is equal to negative VI over A. So that's negative 35 over negative. What's happening with sa kanya? Actually, minute ko siya kanina. Ayan. Okay, so the answer is, so what time? So what time is needed to reach its maximum height?
Seven po.
Okay, it is 3.57 seconds. Okay. Ayan. So may question? Ayan. Okay. So let's proceed to letter C. Okay, so letter C. Ang letter C requirement natin ay its velocity 5 seconds after it is thrown. Ayan. So what will be the final velocity at t is equal to 5 seconds. Yeah, 5 seconds. So after 5 seconds of throwing it, so what is the velocity of the ball? Okay, so what formula? I think ito na lang din. Tama ba? Kaya naman ito. So V final is equal to V initial plus 80. So V final is equal to, what's our initial? 35 plus negative 9.8 times 5. So what's our V final? Okay lang. Negative 40 meters per second. So, yun ba? Tama? Okay, negative 14 meters per second. So, ano ibig sabihin ng negative dyan? Okay, so ibig sabihin, siguro ay pababa na siya. Pababa, yan. Pero pwede naman natin siya i-verify. Tingnan, i-analyze natin yung motion. So, okay class, ano ba yung time para ma-reach na yung maximum height? Diba? At the maximum height, yung time ay, ayun. Diba? It's 3.57 seconds. So, after that time, ibig sabihin, mag-start na siyang bumaba. Kaya, after 5 seconds, siguro kumwari, nandito na yung 5 seconds. So, it is 5 seconds. Oh, yung velocity niya dito is negative 14 kasi pababa na siya. Okay? So, wala namang ano doon. Yan. Okay. So, may question ba doon sa letter C? Sa letter D naman, it's the same. What is the velocity when the ball's height is 40 meters? So, ano daw yung velocity nung na-reach nung bola yung height na 40 meters? So, example, di ba umaakyat siya? So, alimbawa sabihin na natin, ito yung 40 meters. Nung na-reach na yung 40 meters na yan, ano yung kanyang velocity? Ayan. So, since pataas siya, so that means, what is the velocity when delta y is equal to 40 meters? Ayan. So, what is the, class, tanggalin ko muna to. Ayan. So what is the velocity when delta y is equal to 40 meters? Okay. Siyempre, sabihin na natin yan ay V final. So anong formula ang gagamitin natin? We have initial and also we have acceleration. So ang gagamitin natin ay yung V final squared is equal to V initial squared plus 2A delta y. So V final squared is equal to 35 squared plus 2 times negative 9.8 times 40. And then we square both sides. Ayan. So what's our V final? Okay, so 21. Okay, 21 meters per second. Okay, class. Ito ang question dyan. Eh, makinig kayong mabuti. Kasi lagi natin itong gagawin. Kaya ayaw na ayaw ko yung formula ito. Kung may choice ako na hindi ko yan gamitin, hindi ko yan gagamitin. Pag kasi nag-square root ka, dalawa lagi yung sagot. It's either positive or negative. Okay? So, dalawa yung sagot, positive or negative. Ang question ay, since velocity ang tinatanong, ano yung pipiliin natin? Positive or negative?
Positive po.
Bakit? Pataas. Okay. Pwede. Okay, sige. Tama. Pwede naman, pwede. Okay, class. Pero, ganito yon. Ang tanong ay, sa buong motion ng bola, ilang beses siya dadaan sa 40 meters? Dalawa. Di ba? So, yung isa ay tama kayo, pataas siya. Yung una ay yung pataas siya. So, dadaan siya sa height na 40 meters. Pagkatapos nun, na ma-reach yung maximum height, bababa siya at babalik siya or dadaan siya ulit sa 40 meters. Pero this time, pababa na siya. Okay? Ang ano lang natin kasi din, tingnan, babalik tayo sa problem kasi para maintindihan natin ano ba talagang hinahanap niya. So sabi dito, ang sabi lang, its velocity when the ball's height is 40 meters. So hindi naman sinabi kung nung pataas siya or pababa. So ibig sabihin, we can consider both. So kahit alin ang sagot ninyo, tama pa rin ang sagot ninyo. Square root, kasi naka-square yung V final squared. So we need to square root it. Kailangan natin siyang i-square root para mawala yung squared nito. We square both sides. Ganyan lang ako mag-square both sides. Parang square mo siyang ganyan. Nagsasama ko na lang. Kailan ko consider negative or positive? Siguro kung explicitly nakasulat sa problem, kung ano yung gusto niya or direction na gusto niya. So, pwede sabihin niya nung pataas siya. Or pwede sabihin sa problem nung pababa siya. So, depende sa problem. Since hindi naman kasi sinabi sa problem kung ano ba yung motion na gusto niya sa height na 40 meters. So, we can consider both. Okay. Okay, sige. So, since we are in the subject of that, so, dadagdagan ko to further explain kung ano yung nangyari. So, yung E, ano yung time to reach? Delta y is equal to 40 meters. Ayan. So, yung time naman, para ma-reach na yung 40 meters. Okay, time to reach. Ayan. Okay, so anong formulang gagamitin natin? So, ang alam lang natin ay initial na 35 meters per second, acceleration na negative 9.8 meters per second squared. Hindi natin alam yung velocity. Kumari, hindi natin to alam. Kumari lang, hindi natin to alam. Kumari lang. Ayan. So, ito lang alam natin. So, nung formula lang gagamitin natin. So, gagamitin natin ay delta y is equal to VIT plus 1/2 AT squared. So, delta y is 40. VI is 35T plus 1/2 times negative 9.8 T squared. So, ang gagawin natin is transpose natin lahat to the left side para mag-equate siya to 0. So, therefore, this is 4.9 T squared minus 35T plus 40 is equal to 0. Okay, para makagamit ako ng quadratic equation. So, if we will use the quadratic equation, dalawa ang magiging sagot natin kasi quadratic yung formula. Alam niyo ba yung quadratic equation? Sa Calcu, mode 5, 3. Tapos i-type nyo lang yung mga coefficients. So coefficients are 4.9, negative 35, and positive 40. Ayan. So first time is 5.71. T1 is 5.71 seconds and T2 is 1.43 seconds. Okay? So, yung time ay dalawa din. So, yung tanong naman ay, ano yung consider nating time? Okay? Parang hindi, kala ko meron kayong tinatype. Okay, since wala namang nag-negative dito, actually, we can consider both again. Ano ba yung ibig sabihin nun? Kasi, di ba? Yung unang time, ito, okay, class, so babalik ako dito. So, mula dito sa initial point, going to 40 meters, yung first, yun yung 1.43 seconds. So, yung unang, okay, going up, nung pataas siya, nung una niyang dadaanan yung 40 meters per second, yun yung time na 1.43 seconds. Okay? And then, nung ma-reach yung maximum height niya, that's 3.57 seconds. And then, mag-start na siyang bumaba at pumunta ulit siya sa 40 meters. At yung 5.71 naman, yun naman yung time na ma-reach niya yung 40 meters pero pababa na siya. So, nandito yung 5.71 seconds. Ito naman is going down. Yan. Yung 1.43 nung pataas siya, tapos yung 5.71 nung pababa siya. Kaya we can consider both. Hindi naman kasi sinabi sa problem kung ano ba yung motion na hinahanap niya. General kasi masyado, tinatanong lang what's the time to reach that height. Eh, dalawang beses niyang madadaanan yon. Yung una ay yung pataas siya, yung pangalawa nung pababa siya. Kaya yung una na 1.43 nung pataas siya and then yung 5.71 nung pababa na siya. Okay? If you want to verify it further, diba, sabi natin kanina sa discussion, yung time to go up is equal to time to go down. Tama ba? Time to go up is equal to time to go down. So, ibig sabihin, mula dito papunta dito, 1.43. Mula dito papunta dito, eh, yung time para ma-reach siya mula dito papunta dito is minus natin. That's what's that? 3.57 minus 1.43. And that is 2.14 seconds. So, it will take 2.14 seconds pa mula doon sa 40 meters na height para ma-reach niya yung maximum height. Sabi natin, time to go up is equal to time to go down. So that means mula dito papunta dito is 2.14. So ibig din sabihin, mula dito papunta dito is 2.14 seconds. Ayan. Okay. So para i-verify natin, i-add natin. So 3.57 plus 2.14. Okay, so the answer is 5.71. Kaya meron tayong 5.71 at a height of 40 meters nung pababa na siya. Nakakuha niyo ba? Jan Darrell, what's your calculator? Are you same ba tayo ng calculator? Let me pause this one. Charles, ano yung calcu mo? Charles, David, Jan Darrell, mode 5. Tinirecord ko na. 3. Tapos you select yung quadratic equation, yung kamukha niya. So kamukha niya yung 3, quadratic equation. Ayan. So yung nakikita mo sa calcu, ang tinatype dyan yung coefficients lang. So yung A, yung 4.9, i-type mo lang, 4.9, press equals. Then susunod is negative 35 equals. And then 40 equals. And then press equal. Okay, so yung x1, that's the first, yung time 1, t1, kasi and then yung time 2 is 1.43. Equals lang, yeah. Probably I'll just call you Darrell, no? Darrell, yeah, equals. Oh, JD. Okay, sige, JD. JD. Sige. Press mo lang yung equals. Okay, sige. Okay, so any other question? Ayan, kung wala, so we'll proceed to our next example. Okay, class? Ayan, kung nagugutom kayo. Ako din, hindi. Joke lang. Ako din, hindi. Ayan. So this is our next example. Okay? So let's proceed. Ready na? Ayan. Okay. An object dropped from the top of a cliff. Ayan. It is seen to hit the ground below after 3 seconds. So kung meron tayong cliff, ayan, kumwari ito yung cliff. Ayan, tapos meron daw object na tinapon. At ayan. At yung time para ma-reach niya yung ground is 3 seconds. Determine the height of the cliff. Okay, so letter A. What is the height of the cliff? And B, the velocity of the object just before hitting the ground. So, ano yung kanyang final velocity? Yan. Okay. Una, what is the height of the cliff? So, among our quantities, saan natin marirelate yung height? Kasi hindi naman tayo nagko-compute ng height. Ang kino-compute natin ay related sa height or distance. It is displacement. So sa letter A, hanapin muna natin ang displacement para makuha natin yung height. Okay. So ano ba yung mga given natin? So given natin yung time is 3 seconds. Yung acceleration, that's negative 9.8 meters per second square. Ano pa? Do we have initial velocity? Bakit, Charles? King? Bakit siya 0? Okay, galing. Pwede na kayo mag-test. No. Okay, class. Be careful. Ayan. The object is dropped. Siya lang. So, therefore, V initial is 0. So, V initial is 0. Ayan. Okay. So, anong formula gagamitin natin? Knowing this given and the unknown. Siyempre, yung walang final velocity dahil wala pa tayong final velocity. So, ang naiisip kong formula ay yung delta y is equal to VIT plus 1/2 AT squared. Ayan. So, V initial is 0. So, this term is 0. So, delta y is equal to 1/2 times negative 9.8 times 3 squared. So, what is our displacement? Okay, it's negative 44.1 meters. Is this the final answer? Okay, class. Yung papalito. Ang hinahanap, therefore, you conclude, the height of the cliff is 44.1 meters. Ayan. No, tama yung displacement. Bakit siya tama? Kasi kung reference natin to, di ba bumaba siya? So we're expecting a negative displacement. But we're talking of height. Wala namang negative height. So, since related siya sa displacement, so we'll just get the positive one. Okay? Letter B. Okay, what is the velocity of the object? So what is V final? Ayan, so knowing all this, ayan, so gagamitin na lang natin ay V final is V initial plus 80. Ayan, so initial is 0. So V final is equal to negative 9.8 times 3. So what's our V final? Okay, so negative 29.4 meters per second. Okay, any question? Okay, so yun yung ating samples. So let's have another one. Okay, class. Yung mga ibang examples ay hindi ko na sinolve. Yung examples sa module natin, hindi ko na sinolve kasi nakasolve naman sila. So kayo nang bahalang mag-aral ng mga yon. Ayan, kung may question kayo, sabihin nyo na lang sa akin. Para lang makarami tayo ng example. Kaya hindi ko na sinolve. Kasi nakasolve naman din yon. Okay? Okay, so let's proceed to this example. Ayan. A ball is thrown. It throws. The ball is thrown downward at a speed of 10 meters per second from a height of 30 meters. Determine A, the time as the ball hits the ground, and B, its velocity just before hitting the ground. So parang similar yata siya dun sa problem natin. Ayan. So let's say that this is the building. Kumare, building na lang. So meron tayong bola. So yung height ay 30 meters. Ayan. Okay? And then, tinapon siya pababa. Ayan. Tinapon siya pababa. Okay. So ano ang initial velocity ng object, ng bola? Sige, pagsasamahin natin yung mga sagot ninyo, no? King and Charles. Okay. Kasi, syempre, given speed. Remember, speed is the magnitude of the velocity. Pero meron tayong nakasulat dyan, thrown downward. Okay? Kaya, since thrown downward siya, ang initial velocity natin ay negative 10 meters per second. Tama ba? Nakakuha ba? Ba't siya negative 10? Okay, because yung speed is this value because that is just speed and this pertains to the direction. So ito yung direction, ito yung magnitude. Ayan. Okay? Okay. So, letter A, what is the time for it? Ayan, yung time papunta dito at saka yung final velocity. Ayan. So, time muna. So, given natin ang initial velocity is negative 10 meters per second, acceleration is still negative 9.8 meters per second squared. And how about the displacement? Displacement is given and that is what's our displacement? $30 meters lang. Tama kayo? 30 meters. Pero, okay, Charles Darwin, bakit siya negative? Yeah, kasi mula dito reference, di ba bumaba siya? So, ang displacement niya ay pababa, kaya negative. Yeah. Okay, negative. Downward. Or down. Negative. Downward. Negative downward. No? Puro downward sila, di ba? Okay? Klase, tsaka mamamali kayo pag naka-positive yan. Magma-math error. Okay? Magma-math error yan. I'm telling you. Okay. So, let's apply. So, formula natin ay delta y is VIT plus 1 half AT squared. So, delta y is negative 30. VI is negative 10t plus 1 half times negative 9.8 t squared. So, kung ayusin natin, transpose to the left side. So, 4.9 t squared plus 10t minus 30 is equal to 0. Okay, so by quadratic equation. So, what's T1 and T2? Sige, kayong mag-compute. Hindi ako yung magko-compute. Kayo. Tingnan natin kung marunong na kayong mag-quadratic equation. So, ibigay niyo sa akin yung dalawang time and then we will choose. We will select. Okay, so Ramiel, that's the first one. Okay, so 1.66 seconds and negative 3.70 seconds. Ayan. Okay. So, ano yung expect natin? Ano yung accept natin sa dalawa? Okay. Kasi, yeah, Clarence, you're correct. Kian. Clarence Kian. There's no such thing as, Remiela, be careful. There's no such thing as a negative time. Walang paurong na time. So, we'll not accept this. Ito yung i-accept natin. 1.66 seconds. Okay, alis alam mo na yan, di ba? Pero pag positive, mag-iisip ka. Pag positive pareho, mag-iisip ka. Okay? Pero pag negative yung isa, wala nang isip-isip. Automatic disregard yung negative. Okay? Ayan, may question ba sa example natin? Okay, let's proceed to letter B. What is its velocity just before hitting the ground? So let's say we are not gonna consider yung time. Huwag natin gagamitin yung time. Kumari, baka mamali tayo sa time. Hindi natin alam ang time. Para hindi natin siya gamitin. So, ang gagamitin natin ay V final squared is V initial squared plus 2A delta Y. So, V final squared is equal to negative 10 squared plus 2 times negative 9.8 times negative 30. And then square both sides. Okay, what's our final velocity? Ay, hindi nakikita yung 30. Ayan. So what's our final velocity? Okay, so it's 26.23 meters per second. So remember, ulitin ko, pag ginamit nyo to, ang sagot ay laging dalawa plus positive negative. Ano yung tamang sagot? Okay, bakit? Ayan. Kasi 'di ba pababa siya dito, hitting the ground. So therefore, the final velocity is negative 26.23 meters per second. Kasi it is downward. Ayan. Okay? At least, alam nyo, di ba, na kailangan i-analyze mo na yung motion, hindi lang solve ng solve. Hindi lang solve ng solve. Okay, desena. Then actually, nintay ko kayo. Nagta-type kasi kayo. So, tinatry kong hintayin yung susulat ninyo. Kung 10 meters per second po yung speed, tapos 30 meters yung height, bakit po hindi 3 seconds yung time? Oh, okay. Kasi, um, uh, we're not talking of average velocity. We're talking of instantaneous velocity. Meron na kasi tayong acceleration. Nag-a-accelerate na kasi yung object natin. Continuous, constantly siyang nag-a-accelerate. So, pabilis siya ng pabilis. Oo, hindi natin kino-consider yung average. Ang sinasabi mo is the average speed. Tama ba? Yung total distance na tinravel over the total time. So that is the average speed or average velocity. Kasi displacement over time then is the average velocity. So we're not computing for average. We are computing for instantaneous values. Yeah. Tama ba sinabi ko? Parang ganyan. Basta nag-accelerate kasi siya. Parang isip din ako, tama ba sinabi ko? Pero dahil kasi nag-accelerate siya, di ba bumlis siya ng pabilis? Kaya hindi ganun. Okay? Okay, so let's have our last example for the night. I love this example. I like this one so much. I like this. Ayan. Okay? So if you're ready, ayan. So a daring ranch hand sitting on a tree limb wishes to drop vertically over a horse galloping under the tree. The constant speed of the horse is 10 meters per second, and the distance from the limb to the level of the saddle is 3 meters. Okay, so let me draw the figure first para naman mas magets natin. So, halimbawa, nandito yung tree. Ayan, tree branch. Ayan. Tapos, nandito yung ating daring ranch hand. Ayan. Stickman lang yung alam kong i-drawing. Ayan. So, nandito siya sa... Ayan. So, kumare, nasa tree na siya, no? And then, nandito naman yung... Ayan. Parating na yung kabayo. Stick horse din yung alam ko. Para siyang reindeer. Ayan. So, tumatakbo yung... yeah, syempre, pwede naman yan. Ayan. Para ano, ayan. So, tumatakbo daw yung kabayo natin. So, sabihin na natin, nandito yung kanyang saddle. Yung kabayo, yung stick horse. At sabi dyan, class, meron siyang constant speed. Okay? Constant speed. Ayan. So that means its acceleration is 0 if we will have it moving in this direction. So kanyang velocity ay 10 meters per second moving in this direction. And the level of and the distance from the limb to the level of the saddle is 3 meters. Kung ito yung level ng saddle, ayan, tapos ito yung tree limb, ayan. So, ang distance daw niyan ay 3 meters. 3 meters. Hindi na lang kasi siya sumakay, di ba? Ayan. Okay. So, ang tanong ay, what must be the horizontal distance between the saddle and the limb when the ranch makes its move? So, ano daw yung distance nito at saka nung limb para, yan, delta x kasi horizontal, para pag nagpatihulog ito, saktong-sakto siya doon sa saddle. So, gaano kalayo daw siya gaano kalayo muna yung kabayo doon sa limb para pag nahulog siya, diretso siya doon sa saddle. Okay. So, yun yung letter A. Letter B, for what time interval is he in the air? So, ang tinatanong dito, ano yung time interval niya nung papababa siya? Ayan. So, anong time interval? Ayan. Okay? Okay, class. Ganito yun, ha? Tatandaan niyo, pag meron ganitong klaseng problem na nagko-compare sila ng dalawang object, ang lagi nating kailangan nire-relate natin yung dalawang motion. At lagi nating nare-relate yung motion sa time. Tandaan niyo, laging sa time. Kasi pagdating natin sa projectile, sa time din natin sila i-relate. So, puro sa time natin sila nire-relate. Sa time. Right timing. Yan, mga right timing. So, tatimingan niya na para pag napunta siya dito, saktong-sakto siya. Okay? So, sa time natin sila i-consider. So, unahin na muna natin yung horse. Okay? Anong alam natin sa horse? Ang initial velocity niya ay 10 meters per second. Ayan. At hinahanap natin yung kanyang displacement. So, ano yung kanyang acceleration? Given ba? Hindi? O hanapin natin or ano? No, it's not given. Pero, yeah. Sorry. Actually, yun yung ibig kong sabihin. It is not given, but meron tayong hint. Ano yung hint natin? It's constant speed. Okay, so therefore, acceleration is 0. Okay, hanapin daw natin ang delta x. So, anong formula ang gagamitin natin? So, delta x is equal to VIT plus 1/2 AT squared. But this is 0. So, delta x is equal to 10t. So, let this be our first equation. Okay, now let's go to the ranch hand. Man na lang, man. Ayan. Okay. So, ano yung alam nating, ang motion nito is vertical. So, ano yung mga alam nating information sa kanya? So, what is its initial velocity? Okay, bakit 0? Okay, so nandun magpapadrop kasi siya. Okay, so at least dun talagang pwede na kayong mag-test, no? Magpapadrop. Magdadrop talaga siya, no? How about the acceleration? And since free fall yan, that's negative 9.8 meters per second squared. And then how about displacement? Okay, so that's negative 3 meters kasi pababa. Okay, so negative 3 meters. So, class, kailangan natin ng time dito kasi di naman natin ma-relate yung delta y and delta x. Kailangan natin ng time. So, hanapin natin is time. Anong formula ang gagamitin natin? I think the same. Kaya lang, delta y is VIT plus 1/2 AT squared. But VI is 0. So, delta y is negative 3. So, that's equal to 1/2 times negative 9.8 times t squared. So, what's the value of t? Yeah. So, hanapin niyo yung value ng t. Square root niyo din. 3 times 2 divided by 9.8. Then square root. Okay, so ang nakuha kong time ay 0.782 seconds. Ayan. So, tama. And then, isa-substitute natin siya dito. So, therefore, delta x is equal to 10 times 0.782 seconds. So, delta x is equal to 7.82 meters. Ayan. So, ito yung hinahanap natin for letter A. Ang B, actually, nauna natin siyang nakuha. So, yung B is equal to 7.782 seconds. Parang wala pala siyang time mag-isip. No? Kailangan na niyang magpahulog agad. Kailangan niya i-measure pala yung layo ng kabayo sa kanya. Okay, so that's it for this example. So do you have any question? Ranch hand. Ranch hand. Parang yon, kanang kamay. Yeah, Daryl, yeah. JD, yeah. Okay. Sige, so wala na yung question. So